My name is Miranda O'Neill. I'm 34 years old. 3 days after I buried my mother, the woman I bathed, fed, medicated, and held together through 3 years of chemotherapy, my sister walked into the living room of the house I grew up in, unfolded a single sheet of paper, and told me I had 24 hours to pack my things and leave. Pause. Our father stood behind her, arms crossed, nodding like a judge who'd already written the verdict. They were so certain, so completely, dangerously sure of themselves. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't even raise my voice. I just looked at my sister and asked one question. Have you read the full will, Vanessa, or just the first page? She laughed. Pause. She really shouldn't have laughed. If you have ever been the invisible one in your family, the one who stayed, who showed up quietly while everyone else had a reason they couldn't, this story is going to reach somewhere deep. Hit like and subscribe before we go any further, because you're going to want to see exactly how this ends. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? I read every single one. Now let me take you back 3 years, to the Tuesday in October when my entire life quietly broke open. I was at my desk in Hartford, reconciling ledgers for a manufacturing client, when Mom's name lit up my phone. She never called during work hours. Not once in my adult life. Miranda, honey, I need to tell you something before I lose my nerve. Stage 3 breast cancer. Metastasized to 2 lymph nodes. Chemo starting within the week. I had my car keys in my hand before she finished the sentence. I told my supervisor it was a family emergency and I'd be back Monday. I was never back Monday. The first thing Mom said when I walked through the front door, cinnamon smell, old wood, the hallway with the pencil height marks on the door frame. She looked at me and said, "Don't tell Vanessa yet. You know how she gets." And I knew exactly how she got there. Vanessa would spiral for 48 hours, post something devastating on Instagram, collect 200 sympathy likes, and drift back to Manhattan as if acknowledging the crisis had somehow resolved it. Mom just needed someone present first. So I was there first. I sat on the edge of her bed that night and watched her sleep. One hand tucked under her pillow, the way she'd always slept. I drove back to Hartford in the morning, but the whole 2 hours I kept thinking about the way she'd sounded, not scared. Tired, like she'd been carrying something heavy long before the tumor. I didn't know how heavy yet, or how fast it would land on me. Let me explain who these people are so you understand what I was walking into. Vanessa Marie O'Neill, 4 years older, 5 inches louder, homecoming queen, communications degree, PR executive at a boutique agency in Midtown, and she spoke about that career the way pastors speak about a calling. My father Gerald introduced her the same way at every gathering. This is my daughter Vanessa. She's in PR in New York. Then if someone glanced my way, and Miranda's here too. I wasn't the black sheep. Black sheep at least get talked about. I was the footnote. Dad had moved out 5 years before the diagnosis. Not divorced, just separated because he was too Catholic for paperwork and too stubborn for honesty. Rented a condo 12 minutes away, kept his name on the checking account, and still showed up at Thanksgiving to carve the turkey like a man who'd never left. He controlled every major family decision by simply declaring what was sensible. Mom never fought him publicly. She just quietly did what she wanted anyway. She paid for my CPA exam prep from her own savings. Drove me to my first job interview. Left notes in my lunchbox well into high school. You are enough. I didn't understand until much later that those notes were apologies for everything she couldn't say with Dad in the room. 6 weeks after the diagnosis, I did the math. Chemo every 3 weeks. Each round knocked her flat for 5 days. She needed someone to drive her to infusions, manage the nausea, fill prescriptions, cook food she could keep down, and be there at 2 in the morning when the steroids made her restless and the fear grew too big for the dark. Vanessa was in New York. She called Mom every Sunday for exactly 12 minutes. I timed it once, not on purpose. I just noticed. Dad was 12 minutes away, but couldn't scramble eggs without burning the pan. So I did what anyone would do if they had eyes and a conscience. I requested unpaid leave. They said no. I resigned the same afternoon. Drove to Ridgefield with 2 suitcases and a banker's box. Gave up my apartment, my salary, my savings, 6 years in a Roth IRA I cashed out at a penalty. By month 14, my checking account read $1,247. I sat in the kitchen after giving Mom her evening meds and stared at that number. If something goes wrong right now, if I get sick, if the car breaks, I have nowhere to go and no way to get there. Mom called softly from the bedroom. I closed the app and went to her. She took my hand. Her grip was weak, but deliberate, the grip of someone who meant every ounce of it. "I'm going to take care of you, baby," she whispered. "I've talked to Harold." I was too exhausted to ask who Harold was. There were afternoons Mom sent me on errands that seemed slightly too specific. Lemon cookies from the bakery on Main Street. A particular lotion from the pharmacy in Danbury, 40 minutes away. I'd come back and she'd be sitting up, hair combed, eyes clearer than they'd been in weeks. The house smelled faintly of cologne I didn't recognize. Once, turning onto Maple Lane, I caught a silver sedan pulling out of the driveway. Mom said it was the visiting nurse stopping by early. The visiting nurse drove a white minivan. I didn't push it. She was dying. If she wanted privacy, she had every right. Aunt Ruth, Mom's younger sister, solid and sensible, sat with me on the porch one Saturday while Mom napped. "Your mother is a smart woman, Miranda. Smarter than anyone gives her credit for. She sees everything." I smiled and changed the subject. I wouldn't understand those words for another year and a half. But when I finally did, they hit me like a freight train. 3 days after the funeral, Vanessa laid a single photocopied page on the coffee table like a proclamation. Mom left the house to me. Right here, black and white. Dad leaned back and nodded. "It's what your mother wanted." I studied the paper. 1 page. No staple holes. No page number. No continuation header. A photocopy of what looked like the opening paragraph of a legal document, pulled from a filing cabinet that morning. Vanessa stood and smoothed her dress. "You've been living here rent-free for 3 years. Mom's gone. The house is mine. I need you out by tomorrow evening." Then came the word that silenced the room. "Nobody asked you to play martyr." Martyr. 3 years of flushing PICC lines, tracking meds in spreadsheets, sleeping on a hallway cot so Mom wouldn't wake up alone, draining every penny I had, compressed into a personality flaw. I sat still. Long enough for Vanessa to shift her weight. Long enough for Dad to uncross and recross his arms. Long enough for the silence to work. Then I remembered Mom's hand in mine. Her eyes, sharp as glass in that last clear window. "Promise me you'll read everything Harold gives you." I looked at the photocopy. "Have you read the full will, Vanessa, or just the first page?" "This is the will." "That's 1 page. Mom's estate was handled by an attorney named Harold Bryce." "Have you spoken to him?" "I don't need a lawyer to read English." I stood up. "Call Harold Bryce before you make any decisions." Then I walked upstairs and closed the door. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, from something steadier than fear. Recognition. Mom never did anything halfway. Not once in her life. Harold Bryce's office was on the 3rd floor of a brick building in downtown Hartford. Modest. Clean. Bad coffee in a paper cup. I drank it anyway. He placed 2 documents side by side on the desk. "This," he said, tapping the left, "is your mother's original will, executed May 2019. It leaves 14, Maple Lane to your sister Vanessa." I nodded. That matched the photocopy. "And this," he said, tapping the right, "is a codicil, a legal amendment, signed by your mother on March 14th of this year. 6 months before she passed. The month of the silver sedan. The Danbury errands. The cologne I couldn't place." He read it aloud, and I felt the air leave the room. "I hereby revoke the request of my residence at 14, Maple Lane to my daughter Vanessa Marie O'Neill, and in its place bequeath said residence to my daughter Miranda Ella O'Neill, in recognition of her care and devotion during my illness." Witnessed. Notarized. The oncologist had certified Mom's cognitive capacity in writing 2 days before signing. Her home nurse and neighbor were both present as witnesses. And there was one final provision, a no-contest clause. Any beneficiary who challenged the will and lost would forfeit their remaining inheritance, including the $35,000 Mom had still set aside for Vanessa. Even after everything, my mother couldn't walk to the bathroom without help, but she had outmaneuvered every single person in that family. I sat in Harold's parking lot for 20 minutes. Engine off. Palms flat on the steering wheel. All those afternoons she'd sent me to Danbury, she was building an airtight legal case from a bed she could barely leave. She saw every sacrifice, every drained account, every silent night on that hallway cot. She never said a word about what she was doing. She just made sure it counted. Vanessa found out through her lawyer on a Tuesday afternoon while she was already browsing Ridgefield real estate listings, comparing staging companies, running sale numbers in her head. Brett said the color drained from her face in stages, like a photograph bleaching in sunlight. She called me screaming, then crying, then quietly asking if there was any way to work something out. This house isn't your bailout, Vanessa. It's my home. It's the last place Mom and I had together. She didn't contest. Brett made sure of that. The $35,000 was released, along with Mom's jewelry, the pearl earrings, the gold bracelet, the cameo brooch Vanessa had admired since childhood. Mom had remembered that detail, even in the codicil, because she loved Vanessa. She just didn't trust her with the house. The probate closed. The title transferred. My name. Legally. Finally. Completely. I repainted the living room. Fixed the roof. Kept one wall of Mom's bedroom, the original pale sage green she'd chosen in 1998. And in November, cleaning out the locked filing cabinet, I found it, a sealed envelope. Her handwriting. That same looping cursive from every permission slip and lunchbox note. Miranda, you showed up every single day. Love and trust are different things. I trust you. Live well. Leave the porch light on. Take care of that oak tree. All my love, Mom. I framed it. Hung it in the kitchen, right next to the pencil marks on the door frame. If you are the one who stays, the one nobody toasts, the one who never gets the eulogy, the one who just keeps showing up, hear me. Someone always sees you, even when it feels like no one does. If this story moved you, smash that like button and subscribe. More stories like this one are waiting. And tell me in the comments, would you have answered Vanessa's Christmas text or left her on red? I genuinely want to know.